welcome back to Cena Gardens. Here we got my red maple seedlings. I got 3 full flats of them. I got my mixed soil from another video that I recorded. I also talked about the update that I was gonna, announcement I was going to make from the previous video that I was going to put up with the large red maple. And that was in regards to an upcoming upload concerning honeysuckle vines. My phone stopped recording mid-session. I don't know at what point. So that video will be only part of the actual video because it stopped recording. I'm actually recording on my mom's phone right now because my phone's almost dead. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this tray, and some of these seedlings are going to go in gallon-sized pots, and some of them are going to go into this bonsai container, and this one as kind of like larger flats. And I just realized I don't have my washers next to me, so I'll be right back, and I'll have these seedlings out ready for you. Welcome back. I got my scissors, which I also didn't have, and my washers, which is my secret trick to good nabari. And I'm going to be using the washers on these gallon-sized containers with these red maples. And I'm not going to be using them on the ones that are going to go in this bonsai pot and this one over here. And I'm hoping I can fill these up with just one flat. I'm just going to bare root these and pull them out. I'm going to be kind of aggressive with them, and they'll be fine. I'm going to sit them right here. And these are some these seedlings which are very consistent in their growth patterns, as if they're almost exactly identical across the board, even between 3 flats of probably about 500 or so seedlings. They're extremely consistent, and this seed source came from my community college, Wake Tech, the main campus. So it is really nice to have found a very high quality seed source for these red maples that I can regularly collect every year. I'm not going to be collecting any this year because I will not be there taking courses this spring. And red maple, the Acer rubrum seeds only left a single like a few weeks or so before they pretty much expire. The seed goes bad and it won't germinate. So there is that, and I'm going to start with this flat right here. And one of the things that I'm going to be looking for, just right off the bat, is does the seedling have a good start for a radial root system? As you can sort of see right there, it does have the beginnings and a small tap root. I'm going to prune off that tap root right there. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to prune off the stronger side roots right here and here and here, so that they're all very consistent. And I'll just sit this right here in this pot for now. I'm going to get a handful of these ready. These all have red fall color. And this one right here, not sure how well you can see that, but at the base it has a beautiful, beautiful curve. So I'm going to set that one aside, and I'm going to use it as a gallon-sized pot seedling. And I'm hoping I'm able to turn that into a Shohin tree. The reason why I'm putting some of these seedlings in a bonsai pot together, like a flat, and they're not gonna be as crowded as they are in these flats, but they're still going to be fairly crowded. And that is to kind of help slow them down and semi-dwarf them through competition between the trees. So that I can have smaller seedlings that are more suitable for a forest that can combine with larger trees in a gallon-sized pots that work together really well, so that I have a wide range and variety of seedlings of different growth rate, of different sizes, for using in a forest planting. So again, I have a really strong root base, and the first thing I'm going to check, and actually you can see the seed right there it came from, I think. The first thing you do, does it have the start of a good root system? If it does not, it's immediately going to be tossed aside, and I'm not even going to bother with it. But this one again has a good start, and these are all 1 year old. Started them last spring, and again, I'm just going to prune off real quick that to an even length. Now I'm going to get probably about 12 to 15 of these. This one has a lot of strong side roots, but not really much in the way of a start of a good root base, honestly. These side roots are honestly a bit too strong in areas. Mostly right here on this side, but there's nothing right there. Though, because it does have it on one full side, and this would be the front once it grows, it does have a few small roots on the back. I would say I'd keep it, but I'd prune it really hard on a taproot, leaving just that little bit right there. I'm gonna also prune these long side roots really hard as well. As you can see, I basically have nothing there. And here we can actually see a bad example of a tree that probably I would not keep. It does not have much root, and it does not have the start of a good root system. So this one is actually the perfect example of something that I would not even keep after the first year, especially considering how many seedlings I have. And this comes back to something that I had found online, being Okami Gardens, which is now offline, which is one of their articles which relates to the valuable process of culling. These seedlings, especially in their first year flats, are very simple to take care of. Literally 3 pots that I have to take care of. Whereas if each one of these, if I grew them all the way into bonsai, and many of them won't even be good bonsai, that's going to be a lot of work. That's going to be a lot of plants, especially considering a lot of those plants won't even be very good. And many of them will be absolutely terrible. And that comes into the process of culling these trees, and especially if you're propagating at this level, where you have 500 seedlings a year, roughly 500 seedlings a year, you have to get rid of a lot of it, especially if it's not going to be good material. And here, we actually have, well, maybe not. It does have a problem root right here where it bends around a lot. It is a strong seedling. I think with this one actually make another good tree to put into the into a gallon-sized pot, and use my special washer method, which I'll cover in a little bit after I get it through all these seedlings from this first flat. So here again we have a really nice, beautiful radial root system, absolutely beautiful. Strong roots at the base, but not very strong at the top. But once we prune off this bottom root, and I think I might even do a handful of these with pruned roots to compare to the washer method, which I'll be covering in this video. And see which one actually provides better root bases. The washer method, the way it works, and it's best to get as young a material as possible. And actually on this tree, it would be slightly difficult because we have the leaves here. Luckily, it won't be too difficult because these are large washers. And these are just washers that I bought off Amazon. I'll probably put a link in the description about the ones that I got. It's a set of 100 that I got. That was like $5 or something. And basically all you do is you slide it down the trunk. It depends on the leaves. For something that, if it had leaves all across this trunk, I would probably actually come from the bottom instead where the roots are, especially if there was not a lot of root there, to get to roughly like about a centimeter below the top of the root base. Roughly like about like that. And then I would just bury the entire thing and make sure to have extra soil to account for even decomposition as the tree grows. And what it does is eventually, as the tree grows, the root grows and thickens, and the washer cuts off the circulation, which causes a really nice layering, which will produce a beautiful rate of the root system. And because the roots cannot go directly down and they have a little space to go before they can actually go downwards, and it's not so big that it takes like a CD, like some people use CDs or DVDs to do this, but with those, they're so wide that, especially if you're doing it on a young tree in a gallon-sized pot, they immediately will hit the pot wall and go straight down, and it will not look good. Whereas with this is perfect for small young seedlings, and they can be much more easily recovered because once you actually, by the time you take them out of the gallon-sized pot, you already have the layering started, and at that point you can literally just cut off the taproot just below the washer that you don't want, and you got the layering above it, and you should be able to just pull this right off and be able to reuse it again. Again, you just slide it down the top or bottom of the tree, depending on which is easier to do, and just like that. Not very complicated. It creates I have one oak that is actually producing a very beautiful root base already from this method. It is only 2 years old. This is its 3rd year of growth, and this year it is going to, last year it got to the point that it literally was just about to be layered and start producing its roots. This year it's going to produce a massive amount of roots. And one thing of note with this, you do not want to put it up here on the trunk. You want to make sure you put it on the root, on the actual taproot. That way you have extra insurance on it actually producing roots, because it is trying to produce roots from a actual root cell, which is a taproot. And that the reason for that is kind of like to make sure that it actually produces roots. Some trees probably will not do well with this method, especially if you do it up here on the trunk, because they don't easily produce roots from like a cutting. This is basically like doing a cutting, except, well, more like an air layering, I would say, using like the wire torn cut method, where you just wrap a wire around the stem and then you wrap the peat moss around it. That's basically what this is. Further, one other thing I want to mention is that with this method, hold on, I just pulled it off accidentally, but let me put it back on so I can show you. With this, you don't really have to worry about the roots being, like the upper roots being on top of it, like pull it through detailed like that, so that it is actually above the root system, like right there. You can literally just cut off all the roots and it'll grow new roots. That's actually what's happening to the oak that I mentioned. It actually has nothing but a taproot and a pile of what used to be its root base, which actually was pretty good to start with, and it was literally just all covered there, and it's now starting to produce roots from the top of these, what used to be what would have been the bottom, the beautiful Nebaria would have had I not used the washer method. So even with this, you still want to make sure you focus on having good Nebaria to start with, so you don't, because it's just not worth it if you already don't have a good start. The better the start, the better it's going to end up. for sure. But that pretty much covers the 2 different methods that I use. I don't, so I'm gonna go ahead and rush through these seedlings. I'm gonna get them potted up. And just get through these real quick. Here again, we have a not so good tree. It's just got one root right here. It's not got a lot. So this tree, I'm actually gonna toss to the side. It's actually a really good tree. Strength and growth-wise, it's strong and healthy, but it just does not have the root base that I want. And when I'm doing this process, I always completely bare root the trees. I remove all the old soil when I'm doing this. And here we actually have another good root base started. So I'm gonna prune this up, and that pretty much covers this video, I would say. I hope you like this content. Like the video if you like this content. Subscribe below if you really enjoy my other content, and be sure to stay tuned for some more videos. See you again next time on Seeded Garden.